All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with a band that is relatively new to me. I think well, we'll get into it, but I've definitely heard the name before. It's a memorable name, and I'm not sure how long this has actually an ongoing project. But like I said, we'll talk about all of that. I think the best way to start this off is if the four of you who are here want to introduce yourselves and what instrument you play in the band, just so people can put a name to the voice. So whoever wants to start, go right ahead because the way you're arranged on my screen is probably different than the way everyone's arranged on everyone else's screen. So whoever feels up to it, just jump right in.
Let's go from most important member to least important member.
We'd have to decide on the fly.
You're up, buddy.
I play keys in the band. I'm not the most important member, but yeah, I play keys in the band, backing vocals. Yeah, that's me.
Also not very important. I'm Jordan. I play the drums.
I'm Mark. I play the guitar.
And I'm Drake. I sing and play guitar.
Is this the whole band, or are there other more important members that aren't here?
The most important
bass
one.
player.
Yeah, the CEO, as you like to call
Right. Okay, so like I said, sort of right off the top, I mean, the name of the band is something that is memorable. Maybe one of you wants to explain sort of where that comes from, and then we can get more into what your music is like and your new music, your new releases and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
whoever feels up to talking about the whole Neighbour Andy thing.
Sure, yeah, we don't have a great story for how we came up with the name. We played our first show in 2017 with the first version of Neighbor Andy, which was myself, Mark, and one of our previous members, Eric, who has now moved to Saskatoon. But when we played our first show, we didn't have a name. That was at the Knob at the St. Norbert Hotel, to about five of our friends.
Nice.
Very attentive audience members, though. But and the following night, we played at West Talk, and I think the restaurant manager was asking us if we had a name, and we didn't. So Mark just kind of said in the group chat, "Quick, someone come up with a name," and somehow that just popped up, and it kind of stuck. So yeah, we don't have a great story, but yeah, that's kind of what we have.
Well, it's not a bad story. I mean, it's
That is what it is.
yeah. So I'm going to just go right from that to a question everyone hates answering, and I apologize in advance for asking it. But how do you define the type of music you play? Because we're in an era where everything is like kind of defined right down to the subgenre of the subgenre of the subgenre. And so, is there like sort of a Coles Notes way, an easy way that you describe the music you play? If someone says, "Hey, I heard you're in a band," what do you do? I think that everyone has their own ideas of what stuff sounds like when they hear it, but what's your sort of go-to answer for describing the sound of the band?
Well,
I think-
we used
yeah.
to have one, and then it kind of changed with the last album. I mean, with the EP, we used to say it was sort of this blend of 70s pop and soft rock with sort of modern indie rock.
Okay.
Because those were sort of the main influences that came into that. And then now with the latest album, the way that the songs just came about, they came out in a way different style. They came out in a much more like maybe traditional rock style or traditional folk style or Americana style. So I mean, going from the EP sounding like one thing to the album sounding like, a completely different mix of genres, it's kind of tough to say exactly what it is, but it just comes down, I guess, to what kind of songs we're writing at the time. And then we don't necessarily stick to one sound. We're sort of song based, and we're changing all the time, and just based on whatever we're writing and what we're feeling, that's sort of, if it's good enough, we want to play it. We have all these different influences, and if it fits the bill, then that's what we've sort of gone with thus far.
I think when you got five guys sorry, when you got five guys writing songs all together and everyone putting in their input, it's kind of tough to put like one genre on it, because we're all inspired by different artists, different genres, so it is always a little tough to put a finger on it.
Does that sort of nebulousness does that help in terms of maybe getting shows or being able to play different venues, different types of events, because you are not necessarily pinned down to sort of one specific thing. You're floating between all of these different genres that maybe have different audiences or different, different places to play. Has that come up?
Yeah, I think our approachableness is kind of something we strive for. I think either, subconsciously or consciously, or a combination of both, we want our music to be, kind of for everybody. We don't want it to be, walking into something very specific, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
yeah,
I think, just with the way that, as Drake kind of alluded to, the way that there's 5 of us, that we all, contribute to varying levels on each song differently. And, all the 5 of us have varying degrees of influences that we lean on, or that we, take a lot of, thing from. I think it all comes out in each song kind of uniquely, which I think that kind of plays as a strength of ours as an ensemble.
Are there certain songs? I mean, you guys would know this obviously more than the listener because you're the band. But are there certain songs that you can listen back to and say, okay, this is very clearly this member's input, or this one's? Like, is it very definitively this is one guy's song, this is the other guy's song, or is it all sort of meshed together to create sort of the overall sound?
I mean, this is like not an answer that gives a ton of clarity, but I think in some ways yes, in some ways no. For example, I think there's a decent amount of like country influence on the last album that we put out. But 3 of the most country sounding songs are from 3 different guys. So it's I mean, in certain ways you can tell one guy's more influenced by, like, I don't know, country stuff, other guys more like classic rock, Rolling Stones, all that stuff. But again, it's like, I think sometimes when one guy will write a song that's kind of in a certain style, it kind of helps to influence another guy in the band to say, hang on a sec, I think I can do something that's similar to that, like a country ballad or something. So we're kind of not only influenced by outside influences, but definitely by each other as songwriters, for sure.
Are there any artists that the entire group agrees on as influences? Like, is there anyone that all of you can say, like, okay, we all dig this, or is it all completely disparate record collections that sort of come together to make this band?
There's a few that I think would go 4 for 5. Okay. I honestly don't know if there's a 5 for 5 in there, though. I think that's something kind of unique about the project, that we all just do have varying degrees of songs that we like to listen to on our own time. And I think maybe like there's the the low-hanging fruit answers. Like, I think we all like some Gen Z indie rock mainstays, like a Tame Impala or a Peach Pit. Okay. But outside of those, like, I know 4 of the 5 guys, or 3 or 4 of the 5 guys, love the Dead. I'm not a huge Dead guy. I'm the one guy who might prefer a Steely Dan to the other side of that era of music. But I think it's a strength and something unique about the group in that regard.
Sure, yeah. When did this new album come out? Like, it's fairly recently, right?
Yeah, it was October 17th. So
okay, so that's at the time we're recording this, that's just a few weeks. What has the reception been so far? I mean, again, I know it's fairly recent that it's come out, but have you had a lot of response from listeners?
Yeah, we have. Mostly good.
I hope so.
Yeah, right? I mean, yeah. I guess we're in a little bit of a vacuum. You just hear it from your friends and your family, and everybody. We have so many people that support us and that have been listening to us and supporting us and reposting us, ever since we started releasing music. So when we put this out, our loyal crew of friends was fast to listen and spread the word, and I think overall it's been positive. I was interested how it was going to come about, given that it's so different from the EP, and the EP was 13 months since, and that was the only thing we released. So I was a bit interested of how that was going to sort of play out, from going to like sort of an indie pop genre to this I guess almost instantly like a more mature sounding album. Even though we kind of just started, it sounds way more mature. So, but I think overall, I think people have been digging it. People like the songs.
Do you feel like this is a more sort of definitive version of your sound than the EP was? I mean, again, they're fairly close really on the calendar apart in the scheme of things. But now that you've, like you said, it's a more mature sounding record, you have these other influences that maybe weren't clear on the EP or maybe weren't as strong. Do you think this is more sort of what the Neighbour Andy sound is, or is that constantly shifting and moving?
I think the second answer is probably a bit closer. Like, I think it's an evolution. You know, this was all of our first serious music project in which we were writing and recording our own music. So the EP was the first time that the five of us had been in a studio and recorded our own original music before. So, you know, I think, you know, the breadth kind of the full length, and as Mark alluded to, the maturity, I think that's something that we're starting to get the hang of. But in terms of what that final sound looks like, I think we're pretty good as a unit about not shooting ideas down and about being for whatever sounds good and sounds cool and can, you know, be a fun song to get down on. So I don't know per se, maybe the other guys feel differently, but I don't think that we're at any point in time kind of finding our sound yet. I think we're still enjoying the broadness of what we're kind of bringing to the table.
Yeah. I don't think we know.
Yeah.
It's always, I think that, and that's what has been like so fun about making the song, making the EP, and then making the album, is like there's not one way that we do it. There's not one sort of style that we like. So I mean, just even looking out from what we're going to do next, it's like we have no idea what it's going to sound like, and that's super exciting to me anyways.
I think that's the fun thing about having five guys all having, I mean, equal input in the in songs. Like in the album alone, like we have songs like Pacifica or Last Call that are kind of like indie rockers, but then you have like Finding My Way to You and like slower, like beautiful songs as well. Like we're all over the place just because, I mean, like I said, there's five guys, so it's it's tough to say where it's going to go. I mean,
so that's totally fair answer. Sort of a jump off from that question is how long ago were these songs written? Like, how long have you guys been sort of working on this, getting this album together? And then I have another question after that, but just first of all, how long have these been sort of in the works before the album came out?
I think it was basically since last October. Like, we played our EP release show last year, I think in September. So that was, up until that point, that was like our big goal, was to put out some kind of recorded music and play a show to a bunch of people. And then we had done that. And then at that point, it was time for us to kind of say, okay, what do we want to do now? And from the moment we decided we wanted to do an album, which I think was like last October, I think we got right into the songwriting right after that. So it was about a full year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I asked that is because, I mean, like we've kind of just discussed, the band the sound is evolving, it's maturing, it's changing. How much have things changed sort of since those were written? Like, where are you now? Do those songs, I'm sure you're playing them, that's the kind of stuff you're going to play live for the next foreseeable future because it's the new album, because you want people to hear it. But do you feel that the stuff you've been writing since has already changed or shifted or progressed or matured beyond those songs? Like, are you already on to the next select collection of songs now that this is sort of out in the world?
I think we're relishing in taking a quick creative break here. I think we need a bit of time to promote the record and enjoy playing these songs that have been a labor of love, and tighten up and really define and refine our live sound and how we want to play an instrument and compose these songs on a live scale. So I don't think in the immediate future there is no plans to make a like focused effort to write new music, but I definitely, knowing how our group operates, that somebody might just be fooling around one day and have a bass line or a chord progression or a groove or something that they want to share, and then we'll get cooking on it. So yeah, I mean, I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but at this point in time, I think we're definitely working on promoting the album and really trying to put together a tight live show to do that the next bit.
Cool. Well, as far as the live show goes, how much do these songs on the recording, how well do they translate live? I mean, is everything that's on the record something you can play kind of faithfully live, or are there different, are the songs change, are they altered, are there different versions that you do in a live setting than what people are going to hear on the record?
I think they're I think they translate really well live. I think some of them we've played them so many times live before recording them that we've kind of gotten to know the song so well. And I mean, it's our music. I like listening to it, but I find that it's almost better live because there's more emotion to it in the live show. I mean, songs like Taking Flight, which I think truly soars, no pun intended, when we play it live. Our album really translates well to a live show, because I think we all started this band, well, when we started the band, we focused on playing live only, so moving our live shows to the recording studio is just kind of got lost in train of thought, but we wrote our songs kind of to play live, if that makes sense.
It does. You don't have like 12 overdub guitar tracks that you can't pull off in a live setting.
Yeah, that's right. Like one of the biggest breakthroughs I think we had in the studio, in terms of like being efficient at recording the songs, like our producer Will Grierson, he just said, just come in and lay the tracks down as you would play them live, or as you would practice them in the basement. Like they shouldn't be different than that. Like there must be something that's working about the song when you're playing it as a group, that, if you can just do that here in the studio, then it's going to translate well. So I think that was a big breakthrough for us. But I think one of the big challenges, or not challenges, but one of the things I think we can get better at is like playing the slow ones more. Like it just takes a lot of time and experience and composure to sort of like play the slow ones as they're, sort of meant to be played. And it's hard to command a big room full of your friends that have, had a couple of beers, like, to play the slow ones and sort of like command their attention. I think we're still learning how to do that. And I think we will definitely at some point, but I feel like the sort of more fast-paced ones, we're pretty good at it now, but the slower ones, it's going to take some time to do it justice as it is on the record.
Do you think part of that, I mean, not every slow song, of course, but a lot of slower songs tend to be the ones that have more emotion behind them, or are more personal, or have more feeling to them. Is that part of it? Is just sort of getting comfortable with kind of parlaying that onto the stage and through your instruments, and getting that sort of soul, I guess, of it out into the audience?
Yeah, I think it might be. That's a good question. Maybe subconsciously, yes. I think that, to me anyway, a big part of it is just like, commanding people's attention. And like, as soon as people have a chance to like talk to their neighbor beside them at the show, and not have to talk over the music, then I think it just naturally kind of happens that way. So it's not it's not like anything that I hold against anyone, but it might be something to do with like being vulnerable on stage, and maybe that's what commands people's attention. Not sure yet. Haven't cracked the code.
Well, we used to come from, like, we started playing, rock and roll and pop and soul covers.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get people, we were playing to our friends and trying to have everybody have a good time and like sort of get a high energy show. And that's basically how we operated, and that's what we've been doing. So, if you're just playing a cover show, you're not really playing like a slower, emotional, stripped down ballad or something. You're playing the hits.
Well, it's not your emotion either, right? You're saying
right.
You're interpreting someone else's emotion. Yeah.
So I think I think that's a good point. It's just maybe new for us. We're coming from, what we mostly do is try and do a high energy show and get everybody up and partying and stuff. And now we have these songs that are not in that same vein. We have some that are in that vein, and then some that are in a different one. So it'll be something to work towards for sure.
Yeah, I think these guys got it. Like, it's just like an impact of the audience we bring in. Our core audience has known us for the longest time. As Mark said, like, we started as a bar band, hammering covers and just getting people dancing and doing socials and all that good stuff. So, I think the core audience is there to dance and have a good time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Of course, I don't think these guys would disagree either. It's, developing how, as Joel mentioned, and Drake as well, like how to command a room or get attention in a room with like just being, hey, we're going to do something a bit more personal now. So I don't think it's an issue at all, but something that we're, I think, striving to learn how to get really on top of.
At this point, I mean, if people haven't heard you before and they're hearing you for the first time on the show, what's the best way to hear this album and to sort of also to find out what you're up to as far as upcoming shows and things like that?
Our Instagram, sorry, that was an easy one, and all four of us. All this kind of cricket. So we have an Instagram. You can find us just Neighbour Andy, one word there. We are also on Facebook, and I believe we are on TikTok. Instagram is our primary social media tool, though, that we do use, and as well, the album is available for streaming, as well as our EP on Spotify, Apple Music, and I want to say we're on Amazon, but Mark might know better than that.
We're on all major streaming services, as they say,
excluding SoundCloud.
You name it, we're on it. We're not on SoundCloud.
Is it a digital only release, or do you have physical copies as well?
No physical copies yet. I think we've kind of kicked around the idea of doing pressing vinyls, but obviously it's a big undertaking. So we'll see if we want to do that, but it's on our radar for sure.
What sort of in the near future, what's in the cards for this band? I mean, you have this record out now. Again, it's very new. You probably you're obviously excited to have it out there and to be people getting a chance to hear it. But what's sort of happening for the next few months as far as shows or anything like that to sort of promote the album and get it out there to more ears?
I think November. You go, Mark. I handled the last one.
No, go ahead, Jordan.
Are you sure, Joel? Okay. I think we're taking a month off. Little rest, recovery, take care of some other things. It's been a lot of, major focuses, or the major focus, I think, outside of work for the majority of us, if not all of us, for the past little bit. So, I think that for sure there's some time away. And then I believe starting in December, we'll start up the promotion big time of playing the album. Sorry, I was trying to do some mental math there quick based on when the show will come out and when some show announcements will start coming out. But yeah, the plan would be to start hammering shows and getting the opportunity to promote the record in a variety of different channels and that sort of thing. So
people should go to your Instagram whenever they hear this and check out what's happening.
That would be a way better way to describe what I just tried to say. Yeah.
Don't listen to us.
Yeah.
Listen to social media, not you guys.
We have the occasional funny video too.
Right on.